Life, as Schopenhauer once said, is woven from the restless fabric of the will, a force that drives us endlessly, often against our own peace. We desire, we strive, we hunger, and yet the moment we achieve what we sought, a new longing takes its place. Our existence becomes a cycle of pursuit and dissatisfaction, a ceaseless tension between what we want and what we truly need. Within each of us lies this battlefield, the conflict between our inner will and the world that resists it. The falcon, majestic and untamed, becomes the perfect mirror of this struggle. In flight, it represents freedom, vision, and power. Yet, within its sharp gaze also lies hunger, instinct, and the inevitability of conflict. For Schopenhauer, animals reflect the pure expression of will, acting not through reason, but through an unstoppable inner drive. And when you choose one of these falcons, you are not merely selecting a bird, you are unconsciously exposing the hidden tensions that dwell within your own soul. Before you, 3 falcons await. Each one embodies a different aspect of inner conflict, the struggle between restraint and desire, the clash of boldness and fear, the tension between secrecy and expression. The falcon you choose is not a matter of taste, it is a revelation. It shows you the contradictions that shape your decisions, the shadows that stir beneath your surface, the restless parts of yourself you may not always wish to acknowledge. Look carefully at them. Do not overthink. Allow your unconscious to pull you toward the falcon that speaks to the conflict within you, even if you cannot explain why. For Schopenhauer, to understand the self is not to erase suffering, but to illuminate it, to know where your will fights against itself and where your hidden battles are silently waged. So which falcon draws your gaze? Which one reflects the contradictions you carry within? In this choice lies a mirror of your own nature, and the answer may bring you closer to understanding the endless struggle of your inner world. Falcon 1. To choose the first falcon is to align yourself with the quiet watcher, the one that waits, that studies, that holds back before leaping into the chaos of the world. At first glance, this might seem like a symbol of wisdom, of patience, of strategy, yet through the lens of Schopenhauer it reveals something more haunting, the presence of a deep inner conflict between desire and restraint, between the fire of will and the cage of reason. Schopenhauer believed that the essence of human existence is the will to live, a blind, irrational force that compels us to strive endlessly. But he also believed that our capacity for reason often places a chain around this will, forcing it into silence, suppression, or delay. Falcon 1 embodies this paradox. Its stillness is not absence of desire. It is the very tension of desire restrained, a will that longs to soar and strike, but holds itself prisoner in the name of control. If you are drawn to this falcon, it may reveal that within you lies this same contradiction. On the surface, you may appear calm, deliberate, thoughtful. You may be the one who waits, who calculates, who never leaps without certainty. And yet, beneath that surface, your will burns with longing for freedom, for risk, for release from the endless weight of self-control. You are pulled in 2 directions, one toward safety and order, and the other toward desire and chaos. This inner conflict defines your being. Schopenhauer often wrote of the suffering that comes when the will is denied, when our instincts are chained and silenced. To live too much in restraint is to suffocate the vitality of existence. And yet he also knew that to give in completely to the will is to be consumed by its endless hunger. By choosing Falcon 1, you reveal that your inner world struggles at this very intersection. You are both the master and the prisoner of your own instincts, torn between the longing to soar freely and the fear of what might come if you surrender to that flight. This falcon also reflects the burden of anticipation, to watch, to wait, to hold back. This requires strength, but it also breeds tension. You may find that within you lives an unease, a sense of restlessness, as if you are always preparing for something, always storing energy that rarely finds release. The conflict here is not only about action versus restraint, but also about fulfillment versus frustration. For every time you hold back, you strengthen the cage of control, but you also feed the longing that grows inside it. In your relationships, this choice may reveal a tendency to observe more than you express. You may protect your inner world, carefully sharing little, watching others closely, measuring before you trust. This gives you insight, clarity, and often protection from betrayal. Yet it can also leave you isolated, misunderstood, or burdened with the weight of thoughts never spoken. The falcon you chose mirrors this conflict, the will to connect battling against the instinct to remain hidden. Schopenhauer believed that suffering is born from desire itself, and Falcon 1 embodies this truth. You desire freedom, but you also desire safety. You long for release, but you also long for control. This duality may cause you to feel as though you are forever pulled apart, living in a state of suspension, neither fully surrendering to your instincts nor fully silencing them. And this conflict, while painful, is also what defines you. For in this tension, you are forced to confront the essence of what it means to be human, a creature forever torn between the fire of will and the chains of reason. Yet, there is also strength in this choice. To align with Falcon 1 is to recognize, consciously or unconsciously, that power does not always come from motion. Sometimes it comes from stillness, from the ability to hold back when others rush, from the discipline to resist the urges that drive the crowd. Your inner conflict may weigh heavily upon you, but it also grants you clarity. You see more, you understand more, because you are not blinded by the frenzy of unchecked desire. Still, the cost of this clarity is heavy. For each moment of restraint, you pay with the ache of longing. For each act of patience, you sacrifice the thrill of risk. And deep within, your unconscious knows this, that while you may appear calm, your soul is never at peace. You are both the falcon in the sky and the falcon in the cage, soaring and restrained all at once. In the end, Falcon 1 reveals that your greatest battle is not with the world, but with yourself. You carry within you the eternal conflict of Schopenhauer's philosophy, the will that drives you forward and the reason that pulls you back. To live with this tension is to live in suffering, but it is also to live with depth, awareness, and truth. For perhaps the greatest strength lies not in escaping this conflict, but in recognizing it, in seeing yourself as you are, a being forever torn, forever longing, forever human. Falcon 2. To choose the second falcon is to align yourself with the spirit of boldness, the one that dives, that acts, that does not hesitate when the prey is in sight. Unlike the first falcon, which holds back, Falcon 2 embodies movement, courage, and the undeniable pull of desire that surges forward like a storm. Yet through the eyes of Schopenhauer, this falcon is not merely a symbol of strength, it is a mirror of conflict, the tension between the craving for life and the inevitable suffering that follows when desire is unleashed. Schopenhauer taught that the root of human suffering lies in our endless striving. The will, the blind, irrational force that compels us, pushes us constantly toward goals, dreams, passions, and ambitions. And when we choose to give in to this will, to dive like Falcon 2, we may feel powerful, alive, and unstoppable, but this intensity always comes at a price. For the moment one desire is fulfilled, another rises to take its place, leaving us trapped in an endless cycle of pursuit. If you were drawn to Falcon 2, it suggests that deep within you lives this restless fire. Your inner self is not satisfied with waiting, with silence, with the safety of inaction. You crave momentum, experiences, and victories. You may long to throw yourself into challenges without hesitation, to taste life in its rawest form, to feel the thrill of conquest. And yet, within this impulse there lies a hidden torment, the awareness that no matter how high you soar or how deep you dive, the satisfaction is fleeting. The hunger always returns. This falcon reflects a conflict between impulse and emptiness. You may feel driven to chase after dreams, passions, or relationships with intensity, but find yourself unsettled once they are in your grasp. What once seemed like the answer quickly becomes another source of longing. Schopenhauer would call this the essence of human tragedy. The will drives us endlessly, and satisfaction is but a brief pause before the next hunger emerges. Your choice reveals that your unconscious resonates deeply with this truth, even if it does not fully articulate it. Falcon 2 also exposes the conflict between courage and vulnerability. To live boldly, to act decisively, often brings admiration from others. People may see you as strong, confident, someone who knows what they want and dares to pursue it. Yet inside, the story is more complex. For every leap you take, there is the shadow of doubt, the fear of falling short, the knowledge that boldness can also lead to failure. This falcon reveals that you may live with this contradiction, the external appearance of fearlessness masking the inner struggle of uncertainty and fragility. In relationships, this choice may reveal a tendency toward passion, intensity, and emotional risk. You may throw yourself into connections with all your heart, longing for depth and meaning, but at the same time, you may fear the inevitable disappointment when the perfection you seek cannot be sustained. Schopenhauer would argue that love itself is one of the clearest expressions of the will, fierce, consuming, and rarely satisfied. By choosing this falcon, your unconscious may be telling you that your greatest joys and greatest pains both emerge from this same drive, the will to connect, to bond, to merge your restless soul with another's, even knowing it can never fully quiet the hunger within. This falcon also reflects the conflict between action and consequence. To dive is to risk. To act boldly is to invite both triumph and suffering. You may feel this tension in your own life, the awareness that your drive to act, to seize opportunities, to live without hesitation brings vitality, but also exposes you to pain, regret, or failure. And yet, despite this awareness, you cannot ignore the call. Like the falcon that dives, even knowing it may miss its prey, you too may feel compelled to act, knowing the risk, but unable to deny the will that surges within you. There is also an existential conflict in this choice. Schopenhauer often described human life as oscillating between suffering and boredom. When we strive, we suffer because desire is painful. When we achieve, we fall into boredom because the will has nothing new to chase. Falcon 2 reveals that your inner self may resist boredom more fiercely than suffering. You may choose intensity, even if it brings pain, over emptiness. For you, the agony of desire unfulfilled is preferable to the numbness of a life without passion. This conflict between seeking escape from suffering and running toward it in pursuit of meaning defines much of who you are. And yet, within this struggle lies beauty. Falcon 2 may represent restlessness, hunger, and torment, but it also embodies vitality. It reveals that you are unwilling to live passively, that you would rather burn brightly, even for a moment, than fade in quiet safety. Your unconscious may know that suffering is inevitable, but it also knows that in movement, in courage, in bold pursuit, there is a kind of truth, a kind of authenticity that cannot be found in silence. Ultimately, the choice of Falcon 2 unveils a soul at war with itself, a soul that longs for freedom and fulfillment, but also carries the weight of knowing that fulfillment is always temporary. Your greatest strength may be your willingness to leap into life, to embrace passion, even knowing it brings suffering. But your greatest conflict is the endless hunger that never ceases, the will that pushes you to dive again and again without ever letting you rest. In choosing this falcon, you have revealed the restless essence of your being. You are not content with waiting. You crave the fire of experience, the thrill of pursuit, the intoxication of boldness. And while this will bring both suffering and emptiness, it also reveals that you are alive in the truest sense, living not as an observer, but as a participant in the ceaseless drama of existence. Falcon 3. To choose the third falcon is to align yourself with the bird of mystery. The falcon whose presence is neither in pure restraint nor in bold impulsiveness, but in ambiguity, in shadows, in the realm between silence and revelation. This falcon does not wait passively, nor does it dive recklessly. Instead, it circles, it observes, it chooses paths that are not obvious to others. In Schopenhauer's philosophy, this falcon becomes a powerful mirror of one of the deepest inner conflicts, the struggle between authentic expression and hidden repression, between the desire to be known and the instinct to remain concealed. If Falcon 1 was about restraint and Falcon 2 about impulse, Falcon 3 is about contradiction. It represents the dual nature of a soul that longs to reveal itself, but also fears the vulnerability of being exposed. When you were drawn to this falcon, it was not by chance. It suggests that within you lies a complexity that cannot easily be categorized. You may feel torn between the desire to share your thoughts, feelings, and essence with the world, and the opposing urge to hide, to keep your inner self untouched, safe from judgment or misunderstanding. Schopenhauer believed that the world we present to others is shaped by representation, a mask we wear, a surface layer constructed for survival. Beneath this mask, however, lies the raw will, our true desires, instincts, and conflicts. By choosing Falcon 3, your unconscious reveals that much of your suffering stems from the tension between these two layers. You may feel the weight of carrying parts of yourself that no one else sees, even as you yearn for recognition. This falcon reflects the burden of being misunderstood, of appearing strong while feeling fragile, of seeming composed while battling storms within. This choice also uncovers the conflict between control and chaos. Falcon 3 circles high above, neither diving nor retreating, but holding itself in a state of watchful suspension. You too may often live in this space of liminality, hovering between decisions, between desires, between parts of yourself that seem at odds. You may fear making the wrong choice, and so you keep many truths unspoken, many actions undone. Yet in this hesitation lies another torment, the knowledge that silence itself is also a form of surrender, and that hiding too much risks never being truly seen. In your relationships, this falcon may reveal a paradoxical dynamic. On one hand, you may long for intimacy, for someone to truly understand the depths of your being. On the other hand, you may find yourself holding back, protecting your vulnerabilities, hiding the very truths that would allow others to know you fully. This conflict creates a tension of its own, the ache of wanting to be close, yet keeping distance, the suffering of being both visible and invisible at once. Schopenhauer would argue that this tension is not accidental, but essential, for it reflects the eternal struggle of the will. The desire to connect clashing with the instinct to protect oneself from inevitable pain. Falcon 3 also symbolizes the conflict between appearance and essence. Others may see you as enigmatic, composed, or even untouchable, but you know that within you lives a deeper complexity, a storm that is not easily explained. This dissonance between how you appear and who you feel yourself to be can create isolation. You may sense that no one fully grasps the truth of your inner life, that there is always a part of you that remains hidden. This is the essence of Schopenhauer's insight, that much of human suffering comes not only from desire itself, but from the loneliness of carrying an inner world that cannot fully be shared. This falcon also reflects the conflict between freedom and fear. 2. Live authentically, to act boldly, to reveal your true self. This promises freedom, and yet it also brings risk, rejection, judgment, betrayal. Your choice of Falcon 3 suggests that your soul is caught in this very tension. You long to free yourself from masks, to live openly, to soar without fear. But you also fear the consequences of such exposure, and so you remain in the liminal space, hovering like the falcon in the sky, present, powerful, but always holding something back. At its deepest level, Falcon 3 reveals a soul that suffers not only from desire, but from secrecy. You may feel weighed down by what you cannot say, by the truths you cannot live, by the parts of yourself that remain hidden even from those closest to you. Schopenhauer would argue that this suffering is inevitable, for the will drives us to both reveal and conceal, to both connect and protect. Your inner conflict, then, is the very essence of this paradox. You are both the falcon who longs to descend, and the falcon who circles forever in silence. Yet there is also a hidden strength in this falcon. To carry such contradictions is to carry depth. You may not always reveal yourself, but within your silence lies wisdom. You may hesitate, but within your hesitation lies vision. Falcon 3 is not weakness, it is complexity, the mark of someone who has felt the weight of existence deeply and who knows that truth is not simple nor easily spoken. Your inner conflict may never be fully resolved, but it is precisely this struggle that makes you who you are, layered, mysterious, endlessly human. Ultimately, by choosing Falcon 3, you reveal that your soul's greatest battle is not about action versus inaction, nor desire versus restraint, but about truth versus concealment. You long to live authentically, but you also fear the pain authenticity might bring. You yearn for freedom, but you carry the weight of caution. You circle, you wait, you watch. Not because you lack courage, but because you know that life, like the falcon's flight, is a delicate balance between soaring and falling. This choice uncovers a profound truth, that your inner self is not defined by simplicity, but by contradiction. And perhaps it is in this very contradiction that your deepest humanity resides. For to live with conflict is not failure, it is the condition of existence itself. As you have seen, each falcon you were drawn to carries with it not only a symbol, but a mirror of your inner world. Schopenhauer believed that life itself is suffering, born from the endless tension of our desires, our fears, and the contradictions that define our existence. The falcon you chose is not just a bird on a page, it is the silent voice of your unconscious, revealing the battles you carry inside, the conflicts that shape your path, the will that drives you endlessly forward, even when you long for peace. Perhaps you recognized yourself in the patient stillness of Falcon 1, caught between restraint and longing. Perhaps you felt the restless fire of Falcon 2, bold and impulsive, chasing desire, even knowing its cost. Or perhaps Falcon 3 spoke to you, with its enigmatic circling between